It's finally here. It's been 7 years, 1 month, and 2 days since the last mainline game was released. So, how is it? Well, let's dig into it, because this game is both simultaneously the best and worst Monster Hunter game in my opinion. Big claim, I know, but stick with me. And if you still happen to disagree with me by the end of the video, that is completely fine. Don't worry at all. If I also get something wrong when it comes to lore, or when it comes to context, or maybe if I just misinterpret something, let me know. I'm a human, I'm not perfect, so I'm prone to making mistakes. And if there's a certain topic that interests you more than anything else, I do have timestamps down in the description of the video, so check those out or whatever. I don't really care. Now, to put this into context, I have been playing the game series for about 11 years now, and so I hope I know what I'm talking about when it comes to a certain thing or two, but who knows. Alrighty, let's get this underway. I can't believe I'm saying this, but hey, what's up guys? T-Dawg here, and today I have the first ever game review. Let's review Monster Hunter Wilds. Cue the fucking music. Let's start off with the meat and potatoes of the franchise. Monster Hunter Wilds is the best game in terms of combat by far. It mixes the eccentricities of Rise and the more grounded combat of World to create a truly magnificent product. Every weapon is OP, with none being left behind. You can lay waste to any monster with melee, ranged, and in some cases, music. And it's all equally as satisfying. In previous games, there was an issue when it came to general balancing of weapons like the longsword and insect blade. But unlike something like Overwatch, those weapons weren't then nerfed to all hell. Instead, everything was brought up to it. Try it yourself. You can probably get the same hunt time for a monster with every single weapon. The only factor this time is you, the hunter. Let me tell you something. I historically have completed probably less than 20 hunts with the ranged weapons, lances, and even hunting horn. In the past, they just didn't really interest me, you know, or I thought they were boring. In the wilds, however, motherfucker, you can catch me shooting, stabbing, weaving, banging, cutting. Sorry, you get the point. Monster Hunter Wilds, however, is making me reconsider things I once thought taboo, and personally, that's an amazing feeling for me. I've been exploring outside of my comfort zone, and I think all of you established hunters should do the same. Wilds has plenty of new mechanics to the series that adds oomph to this title. The obvious one is the wound system, which targeting spots on a monster opens up a wound. You can then target the spot to deal extra damage, and sometimes a monster material as well. Then there's power clashes, perfect guards, and plenty of small tweaks and changes there. One final point I'd like to bring up about the combat is the matter of environmental attacks. What I mean by that is using the environment to damage monsters. This can range from dropping stones to collapsing crystals and more as you progress through the maps and regions. To summarize this section as a whole, the combat in this entry truly is a one-up on anything past in the series. Well, maybe besides underwater combat in my opinion, but that's an unpopular take. I'm gonna catch some flack for that, I get it. Yeah, here come the tomatoes. Alright, whatever. Next section. This section might be your favorite, as it's definitely one of mine. Capcom's decision to stuff the returning monsters into the high rank mostly was a good one. Truthfully, it was too predictable, the way Monster Hunter campaigns usually go. Typically, you hunt some small monsters, and then a raptor or a lizard, then you go to your birds and fanged wyverns, then maybe a new type, and then the familiar wraths and diablos. Wilds is different in this aspect, which is refreshing. Every new face that's added to the roster is a certified banger. There are no monsters that felt left behind or not thoroughly included. I don't want to spoil stuff in this video, like I really don't, so I'll leave that at the very end when it comes to anything in that territory, but the new additions to the franchise are all good. Even the more Earth-like or grounded designs are still fantastic. That's in both looks, functionality, details on anatomy, and just general coolness as a whole. This game even introduces a new skeleton to the roster, the Cephalopod. Being once restricted to a previous Elder Dragon added a decade ago, it's awesome seeing it being reused into regular monsters. To sum it up, every single monster, large and small, has been handcrafted to fit into this world. Nothing feels out of place or even artificial. While this is a video game, of course, it's a video game with a cohesive world, a Monster Hunter world. Sorry. So, truthfully, this is the most critical part of the entire video probably. If I told you I was 100% enthralled with the story, I would be a big fat liar. Monster Hunter Wilds is a constant whirlwind of the coolest moments mixed in with the most infuriating hand-holding I've ever dealt with in a game. This campaign almost feels like a bad D&D DM railroading you toward the past. There were way too many times where I wanted to catch an endemic creature or explore something cool, only to be told, "Hey, come back! Hunter, come this way." And I swear, that's half the story, bro. You, Alma, and Gemma occasionally ride on your sacreds while the expedition dump you. You can occasionally respond back, and to Capcom's credit, your hunter is nicely voiced. This could just be on me, as I'm someone who loves to explore every nook and cranny, but that felt very unsatisfying. And if that wasn't bad enough, then after being dragged along, it's 9 out of 10 times leading you to a fight you probably weren't entirely geared up for. Well, yes, they always go, "Are you sure you're ready?" before they kidnap you, but it's not enough in my opinion. In previous games, you get told about a monster or an issue, and you're given a quest to depart on. Usually based on the area and the context, you can mentally put together what threat you're going to be facing. You arrive, search for the monster, and then a cutscene plays. It's evolved some as the games have progressed, but that's usually how it goes. In this game, however, they bring you to a cool area just for a monster to sucker punch you in the face. Quest begins, slay whatever. I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't like the main story avenue, like the main plot device. If you watch any of my Wild streams, you can instantly hear me lose interest as I go on a 5+ minute expedition in which I have to sit back. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, obviously, but I personally don't like that direction. Your hunter is treated like a badass, rightfully so. So why am I being treated like a toddler on a leash while you explain how the weather works? Maybe it could be a thing where your companions follow you as you explore, then you reach your marker on the map, and then boom, quest begins. I don't think that's a very bad idea, and bizarrely, Capcom seems to have understood that towards the end, as you're actually allowed some freedom during lore dumps. It's not a lot, but compared to previous quests, it's a breath of fresh air. Getting that out of the way, one thing I find cool is that you, the hunter, are a force to be reckoned with. NPCs and plot important characters acknowledge you for your deeds throughout the story. There's times where it's teased that your hunter is super experienced. Not much is revealed, but it's enough to make you think about who you are. Are you the hunter from Monster Hunter World? Are you directly tied to a previous game? Who knows? But you're given the space to speculate. Several times in the story, a character will go, "No mere mortal can face this threat," and then your character just scoffs, and your party praises you. It's good to finally be recognized for your feats, you know? Warning, do not watch this section if you do not want to be spoiled. This is the spoiler section. I don't know how else to say this to you, bro. You have been warned. As someone who previously made videos speculating about Monster Hunter Wilds' story, I am blown away. Not just because I got a surprising amount of things correct, but because it shows that Capcom is excellent at storytelling still. You see, when I make my speculation videos, I only use the information that Capcom give out in the trailers, teasers, expos, etc. The inclusion of the ancient civilization was exactly what I and many others were hoping for. You see, I've always looked for the secrets of the past. Even as a little kid, first touching Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate for the 3DS, it was always there in the maps, in the lore, in the random NPC dialogue. Never would I have thought that the equal dragon weapon would actually return to some extent. Zoshia is the equal dragon weapon. However, it's much better than I believe the subject would have been tackled 20 years ago. Bro, the Ice Shard Cliffs being the remnants of a massive forgotten city, Wyveria, the Guardians, like holy shit bro, Capcom truly cooked with this. But not only is this fantastic in terms of story, it also opens the door to the past. Anything can be revived from what was once thought as forbidden territory. Who knows, maybe that door will lead to a new frontier. That's foreshadowing. This is going to be a pretty brief section, but I believe it's pretty important. Every single character is incredibly written and voiced while we're at it. Alma is an amazing handler with a great personality. Gemma is rich with game history and is the first time I actually care about the smithy. Well, that and there's some other things about Gemma, but that's territory we won't tackle, okay? Olivia is a strong character in terms of her personality and goals. She's tough as diamonds, but there's also moments where she's vulnerable as well. Hey, before I say this next thing, just hear me out, alright? You see, these characters aren't women characters. They're incredible characters that just happen to be women. And I think that's very important. See? Told you. In today's society, we discuss roles and their importance as a whole. All I know is that if I was a young woman, these characters would make me feel powerful too. In today's world, that's more important than any political message or slogan, I don't know. Oh yeah, Nada. Nada existed. Nada is cool or whatever. Sometimes he's annoying, but he's also like 12, so sometimes his judgment might not be the best, but that's like acceptable. Imagine yourself at his age in his shoes and try to do anything better. Shit, bro, I probably would have died from starvation or something. I'm not gonna lie. Alrighty, so if I want my opinions to have any merit, I cannot be biased, and that's why I hate to make this section, but I have to. The biggest problem, hands down, for me, and for many more as a PC player, is the performance. Bro, bro, I can run Warzone at 100 frames, Minecraft with shaders and mods at 120 plus, Cyberpunk 2077 in the same boat. But why can I only get 35 to 55 frames on this game with medium settings? Now, I can adapt. I started the series on a 3DS with 30 frames at best, but my PC should not be having such a hard time, especially after doing all the recommendations Capcom put out there. I really like looking at this game, but I would really like to see the details as well. I have terrible eyesight in real life. I really don't need to have terrible eyesight in a video game too. Honestly, if the game was delayed a month or two, just so they can work on optimization, I wouldn't be mad in the slightest. The worst part, I only get a 15 to 20 frame jump if I adjust the specs from max to lowest settings. Like what? How, gang? So please, Capcom, do something, homie. I'll throw cash at you. I don't care. Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, you name it. I got you. But something needs to change, bro. Also, the Sacred is a watered-down version of the Palamutes. There, I said it. Lock me up in YouTube jail. I don't care. While the Palamutes are snappy, easy to control, and even be used for parkour, the bird is just stupid, bro. I'm sorry. I feel like the biggest difficulty in the game is figuring out how to ride the damn thing half the time. The Sacred will seemingly go out of its way to bring you in front of a monster, or run into a wall, or it just plain forgets where it's at half the time. This is one of the few things in which I feel like the mechanic has regressed in terms of quality, and it's really unfortunate. One final thing is the lack of scouting and tracking. Besides one singular fight in the oil well basin, you never really track anything ever again. That's one of the many fun things in the world I enjoyed. Feeling like an explorer, an ecologist. Learning how tracks differ between monsters is a cool thing, homie. Especially when you have to scour tracks to track down a monster. Trackception, if you will. So, the moment I'm sure some of you skipped to. What is my score for the game?
T-Dawg, you made a whole video about it, so you must feel some way about it, right?
Well, 1, how did you get in here? And 2, I'll be short and simple. Monster Hunter Wilds is a 6.5 out of 10 on launch. Rounded out, in my opinion, it's the worst game in the series for me in some aspects, and it's the best in others. Story-wise, it can do better. In combat, it can't get any better. In writing, it's pretty decent, but in performance and optimization, it's almost unplayable at times, at least for me. But for overall enjoyment, after the story ends, it's pretty fun, 10 out of 10, but before that, it's kind of mid, especially with all the previous things I stated. And so, but yeah, that's pretty much it. For DLC and title updates, my problems should be addressed. But man, I would be a liar if I said the issues don't really bring down the game as a whole. Maybe after it's all said and done and the final update is released, I'll make a follow-up video. Who knows? But yeah, to kind of finish up this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the end of this. You're a goat. If you could, please hit that like and subscribe. We're at like a few from 800 subs, I believe. It's like 790 or something. We're getting close. But yeah, thank you so much. And I'll catch you soon. I got some more videos coming down the pipeline. If you have any suggestions, leave them down below. And I might get out your hair.